What I think we need to do is to find some way to avoid the fiscal cliff. They will probably have to put everything off until early next year. That's probably the best thing to do right now.
And Laura, so, exactly how was that interpreted both by the GOP as well as by the White House? What was the White House's reaction?
Well, that was widely interpreted by people who heard it to suggest that he would like to see a temporary extension of all of the Bush-era tax cuts, which are set to expire at the end of this year. Of course, President Obama's position is that the tax cuts for high-income earners, those earning over $250,000 a year, should expire. They should not be extended, even temporarily, and President Clinton seemed to be saying something different. So that's how it was widely interpreted, and in fact the campaign asked him to correct the record.
And here we have it on the screen, Laura, kind of the whoops moment.
Yes, he did. He said that...
Yeah. President Clinton supports extending all the tax cuts in 2010, but does not believe the tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans should be extended again. Seems to be backing off pretty aggressively what he said on the CNBC interview.
Yeah, he definitely did seem to be backing off, no question about it. I mean, it was clear that if he had stuck by his original comments, this would have been a big, big headache for the White House, because both from a political point of view, it undermines the argument that he's trying to make to voters, and also just from a pure negotiating point of view, if he's going into the negotiating room with Republicans about how they're going to settle all this so-called fiscal cliff at the end of the year, and you've got somebody as prominent as Bill Clinton's, on the other side, or at least even somewhere in the middle, then that's obviously problematic. So I think they probably got past this one by getting the former president to back off of his comments. But the whole dust-up really introduced two really important and very different kind of dynamics. One is how Congress and the president are going to deal with these tax cuts at the end of the year, and separately, sort of what's going on with the relationship between the Obama campaign and their most powerful and also least predictable surrogate, Bill Clinton.
And what is the strategy to try and keep Bill Clinton on a leash? I mean, the White House, he's not effectively a functionary of the Obama administration.
He's not at all a functionary, and nobody there has any illusions that they can, quote, keep him on a leash. They don't even think they can get him to, read the talking points. I mean, it's just not going to happen, and they know that. And I think that they just are sort of resolved that these things are going to come up every so often, that they're going to have to go to him and say, we need you to clean this up. And in fact, it happened just last Friday when he praised Mitt Romney's business record as, quote, sterling, right after the Obama campaign had spent quite a bit of time essentially going after that business record, as saying that, he really was just out to create profits and not to create jobs. So again, then in a couple days later, we saw President Clinton out there on the campaign stump, speaking quite harshly about Mitt Romney. So, I think Bill Clinton doesn't have a lot of patience for the 24/7 news environment that you and I live in and everybody else does, but which wasn't around when he was running for office, where, you can say one thing and it doesn't matter if it's followed by 7 paragraphs of context. If you say one thing that is off message or problematic, that's what people are going to focus on.
So is the ultimate solution then trying to basically, to minimize the role of the president or of the former president, or do you just sort of continue to put up with him, but given his popularity, have to endure his occasional gaffes?
I think it's more the latter. I think that they know that they need him. He's a very powerful fundraiser. He's very powerful at speaking to voters, some of whom President Obama has trouble talking to, more working class voters. President Clinton's very powerful with them. So, it isn't something that they can just sort of say goodbye to him. I mean, he is very important to the campaign, and I don't think he's going anywhere.